Preventative wellness. We know that you already know the importance of eating healthy, exercising, and getting enough sleep to prevent illness or increase your general wellness. The purpose of this webinar is about catching the signs of imbalance early, not fixing what's broken. These are just a few examples of how your mind, body, and spirit try to get your attention that something's off or out of balance. When we ignore these subtle signs or whispers, we put ourselves at risk for much more discomfort and even illness. Our minds send us whispers to let us know that something's starting to go wrong, mentally or emotionally. Do you recognize when you're irritable, forgetting things that you normally remember, or having trouble making decisions? The body also sends us signals like tight shoulders, trouble sleeping, or even feeling fatigued after resting. Our spirit, our energetic center, sends the signal through behaviors like disconnecting from others or losing your sense of meaning, or even feeling apathetic about joy or happiness. Consider, what's one whisper your body, mind, or spirit has been sending lately? Let's take a closer look at each of these system categories we just touched on, because here's the thing. When we ignore the small whispers from our mind, body, or spirit, they don't just go away. Over time, they get louder, and eventually, they start shouting. You'll notice there's a lot of overlap between mind, body, and spirit, because they're all connected. The goal here is to recognize how much easier it is to respond when the signals are still whispers, rather than waiting until they're full-blown shouts that are harder and often more serious to deal with. For example, if you ignore the mental and emotional signs, you might end up facing things like chronic stress or burnout. These can be early indicators that your emotional load has been too heavy for too long. A drop in self-esteem. Forgetfulness or indecision can start making you feel incompetent or unsure of yourself. Mood disorders. Long-term irritability can be a sign of underlying anxiety or depression. Now, when it comes to our relationships, the shouts might look like strained connections. Irritability can spark conflict, cause miscommunication, or make you pull away from people. Trust issues. Forgetfulness, especially when it means missing deadlines or breaking promises, can slowly erode trust. It can also look like withdrawal. When indecision keeps you from making plans or following through, social disconnection can creep in. In the workplace, ignoring these signs might show up as reduced productivity. When it's hard to focus or make decisions, your workflow slows and mistakes increase. Missed opportunities. Inaction caused by indecision can mean lost promotions, deadlines, or important career moves. A damaged reputation. Being seen as unreliable or overly reactive can impact how others view your leadership and dependability. On the physical front, those shouts might be something like trouble sleeping. Poor sleep quality or insomnia can both cause and worsen these symptoms. A weakened immune system. Chronic stress and mental fatigue can leave your body more vulnerable to illness. Physical complaints, like headaches, muscle tension, digestive issues, or ongoing fatigue. And then there are the behavioral patterns that start to form, like avoidance, procrastination, or sidestepping important tasks because of indecision. Overcompensation, forgetfulness leading you to overschedule or micromanage, which only increases stress. emotional reactivity, irritability that sparks impulsive or regretful decisions. When you catch these patterns early, while they are still whispers, it's so much easier to shift course and take care of yourself before they turn into those overwhelming shouts. Let's talk more about ignored body whispers. Your body sends a lot of signals to get your attention. Ignore them, and you could be facing some serious shouts. Mentally and emotionally, you could be facing chronic stress. These are hallmark symptoms of long-term stress or anxiety, often overlooked until more serious issues arise. Cognitive fog. Poor sleep and constant fatigue reduce focus, memory, and problem-solving ability. Mood instability. Disrupted rest and physical tension can make people more prone to irritability, frustration, or emotional reactivity. On the interpersonal and social front, the impact could be lowered engagement. Ongoing fatigue and sleep deprivation can reduce interest in social activities or meaningful interactions. Irritability or withdrawal. Physical discomfort can cause short temper or emotional withdrawal, which can really affect your relationships. And also decreased empathy. When you're tired and the body is uncomfortable, it often narrows your emotional bandwidth for others. In the workplace, again, we could have reduced efficiency. Fatigue and poor sleep slow reaction times and reduce motivation and concentration. You could be taking more sick days. Physical tension and exhaustion can increase susceptibility to illness or burnout. An error-prone work. Cognitive fatigue makes individuals more likely to make mistakes, forget details, or misjudge decisions. On the physical front, a shout could look something like muscle imbalance and pain. Constant shoulder tension can lead to chronic neck pain, headaches, and postural issues. Again, sleep disorders. Repeated sleep disruptions may indicate insomnia, sleep apnea, or poor sleep hygiene. A low energy cycle. Fatigue, despite rest, may signal nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, or even conditions like chronic fatigue syndrome. Spirituality and quality of life. You could suffer from a disconnection from self. Persistent discomfort and fatigue can diminish one's sense of clarity, purpose, and joy. Reduced resilience. A lack of restorative rest weakens your ability to manage challenges and adapt to change. And then emotional numbness. When the body is chronically tired or tense, it becomes harder to access deeper emotional or spiritual states. Let's talk more about ignored body whispers. Your body sends a lot of signals to get your attention. Ignore them, and you could be facing some serious shouts. Mentally and emotionally, you could be facing chronic stress. These are hallmark symptoms of long-term stress or anxiety, often overlooked until more serious issues arise. Cognitive fog. Poor sleep and constant fatigue reduce focus, memory, and problem-solving ability. Mood instability. Disrupted rest and physical tension can make people more prone to irritability, frustration, or emotional reactivity. On the interpersonal and social front, the impact could be lowered engagement. Ongoing fatigue and sleep deprivation can reduce interest in social activities or meaningful interactions. Irritability or withdrawal. Physical discomfort can cause short temper or emotional withdrawal, which can really affect your relationships. And also decreased empathy. When you're tired and the body is uncomfortable, it often narrows your emotional bandwidth for others. In the workplace, again, we could have reduced efficiency. Fatigue and poor sleep slow reaction times and reduce motivation and concentration. You could be taking more sick days. Physical tension and exhaustion can increase susceptibility to illness or burnout. An error-prone work. Cognitive fatigue makes individuals more likely to make mistakes, forget details, or misjudge decisions. On the physical front, a shout could look something like muscle imbalance and pain. Constant shoulder tension can lead to chronic neck pain, headaches, and postural issues. Again, sleep disorders. Repeated sleep disruptions may indicate insomnia, sleep apnea, or poor sleep hygiene. A low energy cycle. Fatigue, despite rest, may signal nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, or even conditions like chronic fatigue syndrome. Spirituality and quality of life. You could suffer from a disconnection from self. Persistent discomfort and fatigue can diminish one's sense of clarity, purpose, and joy. Reduced resilience. A lack of restorative rest weakens your ability to manage challenges and adapt to change. And then emotional numbness. When the body is chronically tired or tense, it becomes harder to access deeper emotional or spiritual states. If you've ignored the whispers long enough that they have become shouts, you may need to consider support or intervention if you're experiencing any of these symptoms. In the mind, these symptoms can be short-term responses to overload, but if they persist or interfere with daily functioning, they may indicate depression, anxiety disorders, cognitive decline, trauma-related stress, and hormonal imbalances like the thyroid or even menopause. In the body, these symptoms should prompt further reflection or intervention when they persist beyond 2 to 3 weeks, they worsen despite self-care, they interfere with daily function, relationships, or mood, and if they are accompanied by unexplained pain, dizziness, or mood changes. If the spirit whispers are becoming shouts, immediate support is warranted if you experience ongoing apathy or numbness, persistent withdrawal or isolation, hopelessness or thoughts of giving up, disinterest in previously valued activities. These symptoms often require compassionate intervention through therapy, spiritual counseling, or a deep lifestyle alignment. We want you to pay attention at the whisper stage, but of course, many of us ignore those signs. Please, however, don't ignore a shout. Your health and wellness could be at risk. Many of us have been conditioned to just tough it out. In many cultures, it may be considered self-centered or weak or even lazy to give in to discomfort or pain or even feeling tired. Many cultures also don't reward the need to feel like work is meaningful or that being engaged with others is important at all. Frequently, when we're at the beginning stages of a problem, we do the exact opposite of what could be helpful by working even more, distracting ourselves with busyness, or by engaging in self-numbing behaviors to help us not think about it. And by filling our days with busyness instead of quality work, we are reinforcing the "I don't have time" mindset, which further stresses us out. Consider whether any of these sound familiar to you in a non-judgmental way. Remember, we are human. but we can change our patterns and improve our overall wellness. Remember, these ignored whispers will turn into shouts. We can avoid the shouts by following the 3 A's. Awareness. This is noticing those small signals. Assessment. Once we notice those small signals, we ask ourselves, what do I need? And then action. This is when we are responding to those needs with care. Considering all of the serious conditions that can result from ignoring the whispers, it of course makes sense to listen to the signals. In addition to the examples we just covered about why we may not listen, many of us simply don't think of it. Let's look at an example of a wellness dashboard that you can create, or you can add similar information to your calendar. Put reminders on your phone, whatever works for you. The key is you have to create a habit of checking in. Here is an example of the Mind, Body, Spirit Daily Check-in dashboard. So creating this habit means you have to commit to doing this, preferably daily, but at a minimum weekly. Tie it into something you already do every day. After you brush your teeth, but before you go to bed. Or after you eat dinner, but before you start watching TV. Perhaps at the beginning or the end of your lunch break. Just make it consistent. So this is just a sample to get you started. And you might even wish to use different reflection prompts, for example, or perhaps the same one every day. It could be something as simple as, how am I really feeling for each category? So just pick a rating scale, say from 1 to 5, with 1 being not well at all, and 5 being great. If you do this on a regular basis, it will become easier and easier to see what prompts your whispers and what you might be able to minimize or eliminate, whatever that is. It also provides you a roadmap of which areas might be in need of tending. Let's check in right now. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how focused or clear has your thinking been so far today? If your first response is a 3 or below, I hope this session will help reset your mind if your score was on the lower side, but if not, I encourage you to take a few moments when we're done to think about what's causing your distraction or fog. Now take a moment and notice what physical sensations you can notice. Just breathe slowly and scan your body, noticing whatever comes up, including any discomfort, contraction, or even pain. If you have any of those, that is a whisper. You can also start to create intentional actions for each day. Identify what works for you, but the goal is to choose one small supportive action in each category every day. To support our mind, we can journal, reframe, question, creativity. For the body, we can stretch, hydrate, nap, practice breathing exercises. And for our spirits, we can do things like meditate, pray, connect with others, enjoy nature. For the spirit, we can meditate, pray, connect, and even immerse ourselves in nature. You can also consider doing an end-of-day reflection. Don't overcomplicate it once you hear the whispers. Just notice what's going on and begin addressing it through simple activities that will help rebalance your wellness. Again, if you've moved beyond whispers, you're no longer preventing a condition, so take corrective action or seek appropriate support. Unfortunately, most of us are really inundated with big, unsettling questions about the future. And that causes us not only to stay on higher alert than normal, but it's distracting. And we stop paying attention to the little things, including the whispers. we can literally become disconnected from our mind, body, and/or spirit. The good news is we can reconnect with ourselves very quickly. These are simple, quick preventative tools. You could try a 2-minute breath and body awareness reset. Or do a reflection with a prompt like, what is one thing I can say no to today to protect my wellness? Try practicing a short visualization. What brings you calm or helps you feel balanced? You could also incorporate movement. Stretch one body part and focus on every detail. We want to future-proof our well-being. Your future self is shaped by the choices that you make today. While major life overhauls are hard to sustain, tiny, consistent habits can transform your mental clarity, physical vitality, and spiritual alignment over time. Small habits can make a big impact. Once you've reconnected, reflect on which areas of wellness you might want to create better habits around. Big change doesn't require big effort, just small, meaningful steps forward. Why small habits matter. Consistency beats intensity. Just like saving a few dollars a day adds up to thousands over years, drinking an extra glass of water, stretching for 2 minutes, or taking a mindful breath break each day adds up to measurable health, mood, and energy improvements over time. A small, healthy action often leads to another, known as the compound effect. For example, you drink more water. That makes you feel more alert. You then choose a healthier snack. Then you end up sleeping better. This is sometimes called a success spiral. Keep in mind that changes multiply over time. At first, you may not notice any progress, but after weeks or months, the benefits become noticeable. More energy, stronger resilience, improved focus. After years, the benefits are dramatic, often preventing problems before they even happen. Additionally, repeated small choices signal to your brain, I'm someone who takes care of myself. This identity shift makes it easier to stick with healthy habits and add new ones, which compounds the benefits even more. If you improve by just 1% per day, you won't notice much in a week. But by the end of the year, you'll be about 37 times better than where you started, not because of one giant leap, but because each improvement builds on the last. Here are examples of small but high-impact habits that can have a powerful compound effect over time. One-sentence gratitude journal. All it takes is 1 to 2 minutes. It can increase optimism and rewire the brain for positivity. 3 deep breaths before starting work. All it takes is 30 seconds. It can reduce stress reactivity and boost focus. Reading 5 pages of a book. This could take 10 to 15 minutes. It can improve knowledge and increase mental flexibility. Limiting negative news intake to 5 minutes. This takes no time. You don't even have to allow the negative news intake, but if you do, limit it to 5 minutes. This can lower anxiety and increase emotional stability. Give yourself 1 tech-free hour before bed. This can improve sleep quality and reduces overstimulation. These examples are to improve your physical well-being. Take 1 to 2 minutes per day and have a morning glass of water. It improves hydration, digestion, and energy for the day. Give yourself a 10-minute walk after a meal. It can improve blood sugar regulation and boost your mood. Just 2 minutes of stretching per day can increase your flexibility and prevent future injury. If you could stand up every 30 to 60 minutes for just 1 minute, it will improve your circulation and reduce back pain. If you can prioritize protein at breakfast, that will help stabilize your energy and support muscle maintenance. And more examples for your spirit. If you can take 1 moment to light a candle and set a daily intention, it can help create focus and ground your energy. Spend 5 minutes in nature. It will boost your mood and restore your sense of connection. If you could take 3 to 5 minutes for a silent morning reflection or prayer, it can increase clarity and emotional stability. Just 2 to 3 minutes per day for an evening energy reset visualization can release stress and promote calm sleep. Acts of kindness, even just one small gesture per day, can increase your sense of purpose and strengthen your social bonds. These are all intentionally simple, low-barrier actions that, when done consistently, can transform overall wellness in the mind, body, and spirit. The 3C framework for small habit success. The 3 C's are the cue, which is how you anchor the habit to something you already do. Consistency is when you start small enough that it feels effortless. And celebration. Reinforce the behavior through small rewards or acknowledgement. By anchoring a new habit to something you do every day, you'll create habits much more quickly. Think simple and small. For example, after pouring your morning coffee or tea, write 1 sentence of gratitude and then smile or say, "That felt good." Or immediately after brushing your teeth, stretch your body and notice how much better you feel. Another key factor to consider is that focusing on one habit change at a time is more effective than trying to change multiple habits. Just work on one until you notice that it has become a habit. That's when you don't have to think about it, and then move on to another. The truth is, most of us are at risk in at least one area, be it mind, body, or spirit, if not all. We're living in a period where everyone seems to be too busy. There's constant pressure on multiple fronts, and we're living in constant uncertainty, which causes persistent anxiety. But we can shift our focus to preventing unwellness. We just have to pay attention, and we have to prioritize our well-being so that we can support others, improve our situations, help our communities, and take care of our families. It all starts with listening to the whispers and then taking action to ensure they don't become shouts.